Alright, so I'm gonna start by just doing a recap again on from right at the beginning. Um, so if you open up Delphi, how do you open a new program? You go File, hover over New, go VCL Forms Application. It will open up your work area. So the first this block here is gonna be your form. Okay, that we are gonna work on. We've got our object inspector here on the left bottom hand side where we change the properties of our components. Over at the tool palette is our component box where we get all the components out of. Okay, so today's program, I'm gonna drag just a label in here, change the caption to today's program we're gonna call hotel booking. Hotel booking. Okay, so a few properties I can change here. I can go to my color. I can change it to. Okay, no, this color is not gonna work. Sorry, font. Let me quickly check. Oh, yes, font. Okay, so this is still the labels properties. I'm gonna click on font. I'm gonna just change it a bit up to blue. And what I'm then gonna do is I'm gonna go to my size and I'm gonna increase it and make it, let's say, 20. Hotel booking. Okay, so there we go. And now also the font, let's see, let's change it at name of the font. Let's change it to something just a bit more. There we go. Okay, that looks cool. Okay, so there we go. We've got our program's caption there, hotel booking. Okay, so in this program, gonna add just a few labels over here. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so to add multiple components, okay, so instead of dragging it one by one, T label, label, so what you can do is you can hold down shift, click on T label, and then head over to the form, and then you can just start clicking. You will see they just it just keeps on putting labels down. To make this stop, however, you need to go click on T label again in the tool palette and then click once more on the form. Then you will see it will stop. So if you click now, it will not place labels anymore. So that's just hold down shift, click on your component, and then start clicking on the form itself. Okay, so the first one, the first label, what I'm gonna name this one is, okay, so this will be our client's name here. Let's say client's name. Okay, then I'm gonna get in an edit box. Okay, so client's name, I'm gonna extract it out of this edit box. Okay, so the next one is, let's call this the room. Okay, for room, what I'm gonna use as the room, I'm gonna get out a combo box. So just type in combo. I'm gonna add my combo box in here. Next one is, the next label will be like the people, or let's try to say amount of people. Okay, so I've got amount of people. Alright, next one is, let's say the night. So let's, okay, amount of people. What am I gonna use for that? I'm gonna, let me use a spinner. Okay, the spinner will be quite nice, a T-spin edit. So T-spin edit, you just click the arrows up and down and the value increase and decrease. Okay, you haven't, okay, well, in the previous lessons, not this one, I did the last time, you learned about a spin edit, but I'm gonna recap it now and how to extract something out of it. And then we've got next one is, let's call this the club card. So we're gonna have a club card to see if the client has a club card. If it does, or he or she does, then we are gonna apply a 10% discount. And lastly, let's have extras. Extra. Okay, so I'm gonna give you like a few seconds to quickly copy this one. let me just add in what I need to add in. So at the club card, what we're gonna use here is again the radio buttons. So I'm gonna put in 2 radio buttons. And extra, I'm gonna use 3 checkboxes. Okay, so everyone can still hear me, right? Okay, yes, good. Okay, well, I presume so. Okay, so I'm gonna give you like 2 minutes to quickly just look at the layout and just copy it for yourselves. I'm also gonna add a button, another label maybe, and lastly just an edit box. So just this one we're gonna call cost. Okay, then we'll get to the renaming once everyone has just copied this into their own program. Okay, so I'm gonna give you 2 minutes and then we'll carry on. Okay, so in the meantime, while you guys are copying the display down, just also add in a reach edit. And we're just gonna call this reach edit basically slip. So we're gonna just use a label to call it as well a slip. Okay. Okay, so I hope everyone is here. Please just shout out if I need to apply some breaks. Okay, so now we can begin by renaming and giving everything the correct captions. Okay, so for client name, this edit box, what we want to do is we want to go down to text. We want to delete the text out of it. Then we want to go up to name and give it the name EDT. Let's just say client name. Okay, then we go to the combo box, we go to the name, we say CMB, and then we just say room. So combo box room. Okay, then what we want to do is we want to go to the items, click on, well, where it says T strings, click on those 3 dots. Then we want to add a few things in here. So the first line we add a 1 bedroom, the next one we add a 2 bedroom, next one family apartment, and next one is the presidential suite. Okay, so 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, family apartment, and presidential suite. Okay, let's put a price in here, maybe just next to each room. So the first one would be 500 rand per person. For the 2-bedroom, it will be 700 rand per person. Okay, for the family apartment, we've got let's make this 650 per person, and then the presidential suite will be 1,500 rand per person. Okay, should actually be ppn per person. I know pn per person per night, but yeah, let's just leave that out. Okay, so then we just click OK once we've got all the options that we want to select in here. And click it, and then what we also can do is we can just scroll down where it says text, and then instead of having our name, we can just call it please select a room. Okay, so that is basically what the user will see, is please select a room. They will click on the arrow and then select the room they want. Okay. Alright, the next one is the spin edit. So we're gonna click on the spin edit where it says name. We're gonna give it SPN, so for spin, and then we're just gonna give it a proper name. So SPN is our prefix, and then we just want to say, let's just say amount of people. Okay, so amount of people, and that is all that we want to change for now. Okay, next one is where it says club card. We want to click on the first radio button and then change the name of this radio button to RDB. Let's call this a yes. Then what we want to do is we want to go up to caption and just delete the RDB, so it just says yes. Next one is the radio button for no, so we want to go down to name, RDB, and call it no. Okay, again scroll up to where it says caption and then just go delete the RDB, so only thing that will be displayed to the user is no. Next one is the extras. Okay, so the first one, let's go to the name, and let's call this a CHK, so, or a CHB, it's, DSTV. Okay, the next one, let's call this a CHK, a swimming pool, and the last one we can just call CHK parking. Okay, so now we set the name, so let's just set the captions of everything. So we're gonna go to the first one, just delete that CHK, so let's leave it at DSTV, but let's just add our 100 rand. Okay, so it will just be 100 rand extra if they want DSTV. Same for the swimming one, go to the caption, delete CHK, leave swimming, and then just add an R50, 50 rand. And then the last one is parking. Again, click on the checkbox, go to caption, delete the CHK, and then just add our, let's say, 100 rand. Okay, for parking. Calculate cost, our button, we want to click on the button, so the caption is already set to calculate cost. Then we want to scroll all the way down to name and just give it the proper BTN, and then let's just say calculate. Okay, lastly is our cost one, oh no, second to last. So we just want to click on the edit box, call it EDT, and then cost, and then also scroll down to where it says text and delete everything inside of that. Okay, next one is the slip, so we want to click on our reach edit, go to the name, RED, and then let's just call it display. And what we also want to do is we want to go to lines, click on where it says T strings, click on the 3 dots, and delete everything out of this rich edit. Then we just click OK. Alright, so let me just walk you through the basic operation of this program. So the client's we're gonna type in the client's name and surname. They're gonna select a room. They're gonna say how many people wants to book for that room. If the people that wants to book, so let's say they book for more than 4 people, so that would be 5, 6 or 7 or whatever, so for the family or presidential or whatever. So if 5 or more people books for that room, then we apply a 5% discount. Okay, then we forgot one. Let me just add it in here. So I'm just gonna move everything a bit down. Okay, we want to add another label quickly. Let's add another label in here. Okay, so I forgot the amount of nights, so let's add in another spinner. So another T-spin edit. Okay, so we're just gonna call this label will be nights. Our spin edit, we just want to go down to the name. Okay, in case your program also does this, you click, it doesn't want to edit, you'll see there's a line going down. Just go to the line and see where your mouse changes to like 2 arrows heading opposite directions. Then just drag this line a bit and then you will see it goes blue, so then you can edit it. Then you just type in whatever. So this is the night, so we're just going to call it SPN nights. Okay, there we go. Now we have everything. So after they selected the amount of people, they're going to select the nights they want to stay. Then we'll see if the user or the client has a club card. Then we're going to apply a further 10% discount. So if there were already 5% discount given to amount of people, and they also have a discount, so then they will be applied 15%. Okay, then we're going to look at the extras. If the DSTV is selected, we're going to add 100 Rand. If the swimming is selected, another 50. Parking selected, 100 Rand. And at the end, if you click calculate cost, we're going to display the cost here in this box. And what we're also going to do is in the slip, we're going to display all this information. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, so let us get to it. Okay, so what we did is we did how to create the program. We did getting the components out of the thing, renaming, giving it captions, and now we are gonna start with the coding. Okay, what we want to do, double click on calculate cost button, and firstly, before we begin, let's save our program. Okay, so what we want to do is go to the 2 floppy disks, the save all. We're going to click on it. It's going to ask us where to save. So what we do is we click on documents. Yeah, you can just create a new folder. Okay, yeah, let me just create a new folder. Enter that folder. Then you just click save and save. So remember to give the folders a proper name so that you know what is going on. Okay, just give me 2 seconds. Okay, so that was just basically how to save the program then. Okay, so now we're gonna enter into the button, and what we want to do now is we basically want to, why did it go there? We want to begin the program. Okay, so first off, I'm gonna try to explain ifs quickly. Okay, an if statement. Okay, so an if statement works by, well, you're gonna call an if, then it's gonna have like a statement. So either a you can do, well, multiple. It's basically just to see if I ask you basically if you are a male, stand up. Okay, so it's basically to see, well, is the statement true? If it is true, or in the case that it is true, then a certain piece of code will happen. So anything like if your age is greater than 20, so if you are older than 20, then a piece of code will happen. Okay, then another if statement you can have is, let's say if you ask a person, are you older than 20? So if the age is older than 20, then begin and begin, and then you're gonna write your code in. So if the person is older than 20, it's gonna do something. Okay, then you normally have an end. But if the person is not older than 20 and you want to do something else, you can just write after the end, you can just write else, and then you can, well, obviously begin. I'm gonna explain this a bit better in a second. You're gonna want your code to do, and then obviously your end. Okay. Lastly, there's another one you can do, and that is called, it's basically a nested if-else statement. Okay, so the nested if-else statement is literally, you've got your one if the age is greater than 20, then begin and do something. Then you've got an else if the age is, so else if our age is greater than let's say 10, you would want to do something. So that's going to be our begin, and then do a piece of code. Else we just want to begin, do our code, and end. Okay, so the few, or let me quickly explain all three of these I just did. Okay, so the first one is a simple if or a validation. So you're just gonna check if a person's age is greater than 20, then straight up just do a piece of code. So there you would just maybe say, okay, well, he's old. Okay, whatever your code needs to do. Okay, then you get an if-else statement. So that is where you say if the age is greater than 20, maybe you reply and say the person is old. Then it has an else. So that just means otherwise in English. So else just means otherwise. So otherwise we just want to begin and write another piece of code. So this otherwise just means basically just the opposite of this. So if the age is greater than 20, this will happen. If it is lower than 20, then this otherwise part will happen. Okay, then you get a nested if-else statement. So that is where it has an if the age is greater than 20, then it will do this piece of code. So tell the person, okay, he's old. Then you've got an otherwise if the age is greater than 10, then you would maybe say he is semi-old, and then you've got another else. So you don't need another if, because if the person's not older than 20 and he's not older than 10, then it obviously means he must be 10 and below. So that will be then just this last piece of code, this else, and then begin, and then you just write your code there. So maybe say this person is quite young. Okay, is there any questions on this if and if else and if else? Any questions on these? Continue. Sorry. Okay, so with this in mind, we're gonna basically use a lot of if statements in this scenario. So the first one is gonna be quite easy. We're just gonna extract the client's name out of the edit box. Where it comes to room, okay, I'm gonna show you actually there's three ways, but I'm gonna show you just two ways on how to extract something out of the combo box. Okay, so here you're gonna need an if statement, one if else. Yeah, we can use an if else statement here. With the amount of people, no if statement, just simple extracted out of the spin edits. The nights, simple extracting. The club card, we're gonna just use one no, let's use two if, just an if else if, maybe. With the extras we can see, okay, so extras is, here we don't want an if else statement. Okay, so with this club card it can either be yes or it can either be no, it can't be both. But when it comes to extras, the user can select multiples, so each checkbox needs its own if statement. Okay, and then just obviously calculate cost will just add all the stuff together and display it. Okay, so first off we are gonna need a, okay, let me just check because there won't begin too many. Okay, first off we're gonna need some variables. Okay, so I'm gonna start with variable. Okay, so first off I'm gonna need name. Now I'm gonna need a name variable, which will be a string. I know I'm gonna need a cost, and cost is always in what data type? Crick. Okay, so cost will always be a double. Right. We know we're gonna need amount of people, so amount people, and that, okay, if you're talking about the amount of people or the amount of tickets or amount of nights, what data type will that then be? Integer. Yes, okay, cool, because we can't saw one person in half. Okay, so we need whole numbers, which is integers. If I can spell it right. Okay, integer. Alright, so I know I'm gonna, oh, nights, so let's add nights in here. VIP, okay, yeah, well, let's maybe add VIP. No, we don't actually need VIP, it's fine. Okay, we'll see if we get to it. Okay, so let's start with those few basic ones. Okay, we can select a room actually as well. Okay, we don't even need room. Okay, so let's see. So first off I'm gonna get the client's name. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Inside my coding I'm just gonna say, well, okay, sorry, this name, it should never be just name because there's actually a function called name, so it's client name. Okay, so then we're gonna use client name. We're gonna say our client name is equal to our edt client name dot text. Okay, then what we want to do is we are gonna leave the room for last because there's a reason for this, because we first need these two variables actually to do the coding of the room. So we're gonna leave the room for now. So the next one is the amount of people. Okay, so amount of people is equal to our SPN, so that is our spinner amount of people. And how do you get the value out of a spinner? We just say dot value. Okay, next one is for the nights, so we can say the nights is given the value of our spin edit. And how do we extract it out of a spin edit? It is value. Okay, so now that we've got the amount of people and the nights, we can then go on to, well, yeah, let's get the total price for the room then. Okay, so to get something out of the combo box, we can say if our combo box room dot text equals, and then what we need to do is we need to actually go and see exactly what the name is. So if we look in items, we need to look at this whole name. Okay, so we need to copy that whole first line. We need to go to design and we are coding, and we need to insert this whole thing into quotes. So that's basically gonna compare the text which will be selected, but the text that is selected will obviously be that whole item's name. So to demonstrate this is, remember, if you're comparing text, so at the moment the text is please select the room. As soon as I click the first one, then the text is this whole thing: one bedroom, space R, bracket R 500 pp. Okay, so it's the whole thing. So that is basically how you figure out the combo box. Okay, there's another way. I'm going to show you the another way in a second. Okay, so if the text is the one bedroom, then let's just add a begin here. So what do we want happening now? Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to take the amount of people. Okay, wait, let's add cost here quickly at the top. So at the moment, let's say cost. So this is before we do any calculations, our cost is always equal to 0 to just initialize the variable. Okay, so if you get to the room, the first one, let's say our cost will then be equal to our amount of people. Okay, obviously that's just because it's an integer amount. Oh, it's just amount people. There we go. So amount people times our pricing of the room. So in this case it's just 500 rand. So 500. So let's put this in brackets. So it will be amount of people. So if there's 2 people that wants to stay in this one bedroom, it's going to be 2 times 500, which will equate to 1,000. And then we must just see, okay, so how many nights do they plan on staying? So then we just times our amount by the amount of nights. So that's just nights. Okay, you guys understand this basic maths? So the amount of people, and then we just multiply it by the room's pricing per night. And then basically, if we've got the amount of the people for the room, we can just multiply it by nights. Okay, so and that will give us a cost. Okay, so if the next one is selected, so let's just have here an else if. So else if our combo box room dot text equals, then inside quotes, what you can do is another way to copy it. You can just run the program, select the next one, which is 2 bedroom, press Ctrl C, get into the quotes, Ctrl V. Okay, so if it's 2 bedroom, then what do we want happening? We want to say begin. Then I'm gonna copy this whole line just out, and then I'm just gonna simply change the pricing of the room, which is now 700. Okay, for the next one I'm gonna just write an else if again. So the else if one is gonna be our next one. So just cmb room dot text equals inside quotes. Now let me save this for now, then I'm gonna run it again. Just go get the next one's name. Next one's name is the family apartment, so I'm gonna copy that one. I'm gonna paste it inside my quotes, so if it's family apartment, then 650. Then I'm gonna say begin. I'm just gonna go to my cost again. Very repetitive, just copy the cost and then just turn my 700 into a 650. Okay, then what I can do is I can simply actually just have one else instead of having an else if, because if 1 bedroom is not selected, 2 bedroom is not selected, family apartment is not selected, then obviously the last one will be selected. Okay, later on I think, yeah, in a few lessons I'm gonna get to validation. Okay, but for now we're not gonna be too picky and say, but but what if the person didn't select anything? We'll get to that. That is called validation. We'll do that in the near future. Okay, and what validation means. So just for now, just assume if the one bedroom is not selected, the 2 bedroom is not selected, the family apartment is not selected, then else obviously begin and say, well, then the last one is selected. So that will just be our cost is equal to amount of people times, then it's 1,500, and then obviously times the nights at the end. Okay, so now we will get basically a rough idea, or just the pricing per person in a room for the amount of nights they plan on staying. So that deals with the room, the amount of people, and the nights. Okay, another thing I said is if a person or yes, the person booking is booking for more than 4 people, so that is 5 and more, then we want to apply a 5% discount. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to use an if statement now. Let me just check quickly here. Okay, we want to use an if statement to see, sorry, my throat is just very thirsty and dry. We want to see if the people are more than 4, and then we want to take whatever we got in our cost variable and then just subtract 5% off of that. So how do we do that? We're going to use a a simple if. So we're just going to see, so if our amount of people is greater than 4, so that means 5 and more. Okay, then we want to say, okay, begin, and now we want to add that simple piece of code. So what we will do, we will say cost is equal to whatever let me see, whatever cost is minus our, in brackets, our cost price multiplied by 0.05, because that is 5%, so it's cost minus 5% of cost, and that will then basically be our cost minus then 5% discount. Okay, so that is basically if the amount of people are more than 4. Note, I do not have an else statement, because our else statement will only just say, so cost will stay the same. So instead of having that piece of code, if we do not change the code, it will just, the cost will always stay the same. So that's why I don't even need an else here, because I already know my else means the cost will just stay the same. Alright, so that deals with that 5% discount. Alright, the next one we've got is the club card. So now we need to go see if a club card is present, and then we need to go subtract a further 10%. Okay, so over here, let's just say we're gonna need another if. In this case, there's only 2 options, so I'm just gonna have an if else. Okay, remember I said we're not going to do validation, so what if the user did not select one? We don't care, we just want to see yes or no. So we're going to start by saying our RDB, if our RDB is .yes .checked, so if our radio button .checked equals to true. Okay, what I mean with this is, if we look at the design, we click on a radio button, we'll see here by checked. If you say it at the present, it's false, and if you make it true, you will see it gets highlighted or ticked. So if the checked is false, then obviously it's missing. Okay, just a recap, if one is, let's say, true, and you go to the other radio button, you make that one true, you will see it automatically goes to the other radio buttons and makes it false. Same with this one, if I make this one true again, it will cancel everything else as false and make just that one true. Alright, so if our radio button yes.checked equals true, then we want to just begin and say, well, our cost is equal to whatever our cost was minus our cost times, and in this case it's 10%, so it's 0 point, either 1 or 10, whatever is best for you. Okay, what we can do, and again this is going to be a bit redundant, we can have an else. So if the radio button yes is not checked, then obviously the no will be checked. Okay, we can have an else if there if you wanted to, but in this case, why I said it's redundant, it's just like the previous one. If the amount of people are not greater than 4, the cost will stay the same. I'm just going to demonstrate what I mean by that. So if our radio button yes is not checked, then obviously our no will be checked, and then if our no is checked, the person will not get a 10% discount. So our coding in a sense is just in basically, well, cost is then whatever cost is, so cost is equal cost. Okay, so that's why I said it's very redundant to write this down. So in this case, whatever you or what else you can do is you can just delete that piece of code and just leave it as is. Okay, because if this statement does not execute, it means cost will just stay what cost was. Alright. Okay, fairly simple. You guys with me, right? Yes. Okay, cool. So we are almost done. Okay, so let's go to the extras. Okay, so the extras in this case, I said we're gonna have an if statement for each of these check boxes. Alright. So let's start with the first one. So if our chk, if our checkbox dstv dot checked equals true, then what we want to do is we want to say, let's just begin and say, well, whatever cost was, we're just gonna go and say cost is equal to whatever it was, and then we just want to add the price of the DSTV is 100 Rand. Okay, fairly simple. Then we want to do the same for each and every one. So if our checkbox swimming dot checked equals true, then we want to say, okay, begin, and cost will then be equal to whatever cost was, and then we want to add 50 Rand. Okay, and then lastly we want to say, well, if our checkbox parking dot checked equals true, so if they wanted parking, then we will say begin, and cost will get the value of whatever cost was, and then just plus 100 Rand. Okay, so in a sense, if we are done with all the discounting and stuff, or not giving discounts, etc., and we have a cost, let's say the price was 2000 Rand. So now it's basically gonna go and see, so is DSTV selected, and in this case if it's true, then the price will now become, if the price is 2000, it will be 2000 plus 100, so that's 2100, and then it will be given to cost. The next time, the cost here is now 2100. So if our swimming is checked, it's going to be 2100 plus 50, which is 2150, and then that 2150 will then be given to the cost variable. Okay, the third time this one runs and all three is selected in this scenario, then cost will be 2150, then we add 100 Rand to it, so then it's 2250, and then that 2250 will then be given to cost. And that is basically how we will work out cost for all these components. So that in case is then our final amount. So all that is left is we want to just display our cost in this edit box. So it's just going to be edt cost dot text is equal let's just give it a nice R symbol, a space, and then we want to plus, and now I want to display cost. Okay, tell me quickly, why isn't that gonna work? Anyone? Okay, yes, so why cost wouldn't work is because cost is a double, so we need to convert it float to string, and then we are able to display it. Okay, so that is, we are finished with everything. Well, let's quickly just run it and see if there's no errors actually. Okay, so we can put in here, let's say this is selected, let's select these two. Okay, so we've got a cost. Okay, cool. So now we want to display all this information into our slip. Okay, I'm gonna do it in one line. So I hope you guys still remember what or how the reach edit works. Okay, so first of all, I'm just gonna clear it. So I'm gonna say red display.lines.clear. Then I'm gonna say my red display.lines.add. Then inside the brackets, on the first line of my reach edit, I'm just gonna display a nice title giving a name, just name. Then I'm gonna say plus #9. What does #9 again do, anyone? It creates a tab. Nice. Okay, so plus, and then I just want to call my name, my client name variable. Okay, so then I'm gonna say #13. Why #13? It goes to another line. Correct. Thank you very much. Okay, so then on the next line, I want to display the room that is selected. So I'm just gonna say in quotes, a nice heading is room. And then again, I'm gonna add another tab, and then I'm gonna simply select the room that is displayed, and then that will be our CMB room dot text. Okay, so in this case I'm recalling the component's text property because we didn't save it in any variable. Okay, so then on the I want to go to the next line, so I'm just gonna say #13 plus. Okay, so that is now the room taken care of. So now we need the amount of people, so let's just have in quotes amount, or let's just say people. Again, I'm gonna just create a nice tab, #9 plus, and then I'm just gonna call my amount of people. Okay, so amount of people again also will not go into my reach edit because amount of people is an integer variable. So then we just want to call int to string, and we want to convert our amount of people into a string so that it can go into our sentence into that reach edit display. Pretty simple. Then we just want to again go to the next line. Okay, then we want to display the nights. Okay, so just nights and plus #9 to create a nice tab. And then I want to display nights. Okay, so anyone, why is nights not gonna work? Why is nights gonna not work? Okay, so it's an integer. Okay, so on nights again, int to string. Okay, then we're gonna add a #13 to go to the next line. So people's done, nights is done, club card. So then I'm just gonna have another quotes and say club card, club. So that will be then hashtag yes, #9. Okay, we'll get back to this one in a second. Then I forgot to do something. I'll explain to you what that was in a second. So that will be #9. Then we're gonna add something in there. Then I'm just gonna add a #13. Go to the next line. Then Alright, so extras. Okay, so what we can have here is, again, I forgot also one thing here. Let me see if I can quickly change it in like 2 seconds. No, okay, let's leave it out for now. Okay, so let's just leave the extras. I see our recording is just actually taking very long, so I'm just gonna leave out the club card for now and the extras for now. So basically what I forgot to do is, yeah, in the if statements I had to actually just also make a variable that records if like it's checked or not checked, and just not doing the cost. Basically same with VIP, I needed to actually go and say, or like make another variable with VIP and then just say yes or no and submit it into that thing, and DSTV yes or no. But basically the previous lesson I did, it explains exactly how to do that. I'm just gonna skip those 2 steps because of time. So I just skipped the club card and the extras. So the last one is just gonna be cost. Maybe after the recording I'll just do that part, but the cost, let's make it in nice quotes. Cost R, and then we just want to say plus, okay, we want to say cost plus hashtag 9 plus, then let's make a nice, just an R symbol for rands and a space. Then we want to add the last final piece, will be cost, but cost is a double, so we just want to say float to string, and then insert here our cost. Okay, so this thing looks like Frankenstein's monster, so let's hope it actually runs. No errors, looks good so far. Okay, so if we've got our client's name, okay, we can select a room, we can select the amount of people, we can select the amount of nights. If they've, let's say, no club card, swimming and parking, let's calculate the cost. And there are slip says name Jesse, room, family apartment, people 3, nights 2, and it equates to 4050. So we can actually say 650 times 3 is 1950 times 2 is 3900, and then just plus our 150 is 4050. Perfect. Okay, so that works, and that is basically if statements and components, just a bit of revision. Okay, so I'm just gonna record I will stop the recording quickly.